Good morning, all.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
So let's start with our lecture. So in the last lecture, we have started to study the topic properties of molding sand. Can you hear me? My voice is clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So we have started the topic properties of molding sand. So there are total 6 properties which should the molding sand possess. These properties are porosity, which means permeability, flowability, collapsibility, adhesiveness, cohesiveness or strength, and last one is the refractoriness. Out of these properties, we have already seen the first one, that is porosity, and the second one is the flowability. Just review this and go for the next property. The first property was porosity. So what is porosity? What is porosity? Why we need porosity? Why we need this property porosity? Can anybody tell me?
Whatever the moisture remain in the mold, that should be get vaporized. So the mold that should have a proper porous.
Yes. Okay. So here we have the mold. Suppose this is the mold. Drag. And here, suppose this is the flask. Here we have the cavity which is prepared by the mold, and we are pouring the molten metal. From this, we are pouring the molten metal. So while pouring the molten metal, what happens? So when we are making the metal, when we are heating the metal, so it get converted into liquid stage. Okay, so it get converted into a molten metal. So in that molten metal, there are gases, different gases generated. First thing is that. Second thing is when we pour the molten metal into the cavity, along with this molten metal, some air particles, some air get inserted into this cavity, right? Plus, as we are using green sand, so it contains some moisture. So this green sand, whatever the green sand is there, so that contains the moisture. So what we are seeing, there are gases which are in molten metal. There is the air will entrap while pouring the molten metal. Plus your mold or your molding sand is having some moisture. So after pouring this, so what happens? So this gases or whatever the moisture is that get vaporizes or whatever the air is there. So that should leave this molding sand. Either this will move or get escape from the riser, or they will get escape from this molding sand. So when they will get escape, when so your molding sand is porous enough so that whatever the gases are there, so that will get escape. So if your molding sand is not porous, then what happens? Whatever the gases are there, that will get entrapped and that will cause casting defect. Suppose this is your product. So due to the entrapping of gases, water vapor or air, so you get the blowholes here. So this is one type of a casting defect. So that's why porosity is necessary in the molding sand. Whatever the mold we have prepared, so this is the necessity of porosity. If porous, your molding sand is porous enough, then whatever the gases, water vapor or air is there, that will get escape from this molding sand. That will not get entered. So this is your porosity property that we have seen. Next, we have seen the flowability. Flowability of sand. Whatever the sand we are using, whatever the molding sand we are using, so that should be flowable. Flowable means what? What we are doing when we are keeping the pattern, suppose this is the pattern and this is our flask. Then we are pouring the molding sand. So this is our pattern. This is our molding sand, right? So after pouring, we go for ramming. So when we are ramming, when we are pouring, so that molding sand should be flowable so that it can go up to each and every part of this pattern, so that we can get the exact replica of this pattern. We can get the good impression of pattern. If suppose it is having the good flowability. If suppose it is not, then what happens? We may not get the proper shape of mold. Whatever the required shape of mold we want, we will not get if suppose your sand is not flowable enough. Okay, so that is the importance of flowability. It should flow all over the pattern. Right? Now the next is collapsibility. So what is this collapsibility? Now we have prepared the mold. We have prepared the mold with the help of pattern. Then we have removed the pattern, and now we have poured the molten metal into this mold. Once we pour, what we do? We will allow it to solidify. When it solidifies, as we are seeing, it will start to contract. Now, when it is start to contract, whatever the sand around it, molding sand, okay, so that should not oppose this contracting metal, contracting part. Okay, if suppose it is opposes, then what happens? It may produce tearing and cracking defect into the contracting metal. So this is contracting. So this molding sand should allow this metal to easily contract. Right? Means what? It should collapse. Generally, what happens when it starts to contract due to the heat? Whatever the sand we have used, that will start to crack, and that will allow this molten metal to solidify easily without cracking and tearing. So that is collapsibility of molding sand. Once you have poured the molten metal, your molten metal will start to solidify. So what is collapsibility? So this sand will get automatically collapse, okay, and it will allow your part to solidify without cracking and tearing. So that is the collapsibility property. Then next is adhesiveness property. So what is adhesiveness property? So to adhere to the another particle or surface. So we will see why this property is important. If you see the process, what we do first, we prepare the dry. Yes.
Can you explain the collapsiveness again?
Okay. So I think in the video you can see that. It may have the collapsibility. Can you see this video?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now see here, there is a collapsibility property. Now see, So there are, so when we pour the molten metal due to the heat, so see, such cracks are developed in the molding side. Okay, so it get collapsed so that we can easily remove the pattern. That is second thing. First thing is what? So due to the cracking, so it will not oppose to this contracting of this part. Okay, so whatever the part is that, so that will not oppose to the contracting of this part. So if it is your molding sand is not enough collapsible, then it will oppose the contracting of this pattern. Okay, and if suppose it opposed to the contracting, then what happens? So it may crack, okay, due to the opposing. So here there is a simple part, when there is a complex part, when they have internal surfaces, okay, in that case this property is very important. And how this your molding sand get cracked? So due to the heat, whatever the heat produced by this molten metal, so due to the heat it will get automatically cracked. Okay, that molding sand will get, the crack will be produced in the molding sand due to the heating. And it should produce, because it will, once it is produced, it will create a space so that it can contract easily. That is the collapsibility. It is still, you have any doubt?
Sir, while baking, the crack doesn't occur, but when we pour
No,
the heating
yes,
metal, then
yes.
only.
What happens in baking? We just remove the moisture content. Okay, so in baking, first we prepare the green sand. With the help of that, we prepare the mold. After preparing the mold, we bake it. Why we bake it? Whatever the moisture content is there, so we want to remove that. Whatever the moisture content is there, and to get a good strength, so we go for baking. Here what happens? Actual molten metal, which is having nearly about, if suppose cast iron, it may have the 1000 degrees Celsius. So that 1000 degrees Celsius temperature will come in contact with this molding cell. But in baking, what we do, we may bake up to 80 degrees Celsius, 100 degrees Celsius. To that much only we go for baking. Use temperature that much for baking. But in this, if you see, the temperature is around 1000 degrees Celsius. More than that, depending on the materials which we use. In the baking, the sand does not crack because we are using only 80 to 100 degrees Celsius temperature. Okay. Any doubt still? If you have any doubt?
Sir, that means only crack occurs, na? Melting
Yes.
of that
Yes.
mold doesn't occur, na?
Yes, yes. So it has two advantages. First, it will allow to contract this part freely. Second, as it collapses, we can easily remove that part. Okay, that two advantages are there of this collapsibility. First, most important thing is it should not crack our part. That is the most important thing. Okay.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
In collapsibility, what happens between the two molecules? Like,
which two molecules?
In any two molecules of the sand.
So, due to the heat, what happens? It get more. As it is getting more heat, so due to that, it get cracks. It loses means whatever the bonding is there, that is cohesiveness. That it loses the cohesiveness because it got completely dry, and it becomes tough. Okay, as compared to the green sand, so it becomes tough. As it is become tough, it get cracks due to the excessive temperature. Due to the contact between excessive temperature, it get cracked. Just get cracked.
Okay.
Sir,
yes.
Since the sand, that is our mold, gets cracked, then we cannot use the same mold for manufacturing more products, right?
Yes.
We will have
yes. That's why we have seen in the types of sand, whatever the sand around our pattern, we use that sand as a fresh sand. Fresh means green sand. And after the green sand, we go for backing sand. Backing sand means already used sand. So this is already used sand. What we do again, we go for crushing it, making small particles of this sand, and we use as a backing sand. If you remember in the last lecture, so whatever the sand is there near the pattern, so that sand is used as a fresh sand. That is called green sand. And after the green sand, we go for using backing sand, that is U sand. So U sand is this. Okay, U sand. So again we go for crushing of this sand, and again we reuse, okay, for particular time, and but we reuse at backing side, not an actual side, facing side, if you remember the last lecture. Okay, but after some times again we stop using this use sand particular times.
Okay, okay, sir.
Now the next property is adhesiveness. So adhesiveness is to having the capability to adhere the other surfaces. And why we require this property? What we do, we first go for preparing the dry. We have prepared the dry. So here there is a pattern. Then another piece, another part of pattern we keep like this, and then we keep the cope. This is the cope and dry, and we prepare the mold. So we have prepared this mold with the help of pattern. Now we want to remove this pattern. To remove this pattern, what we need to do? We need to detach this cope from the dry. So what we have? Now this is our cope. And this is our dry. Okay, so we remove that cope, then we remove this pattern. Okay, and again we join it. Right now, in this process, your whatever the molding sand is there in the cope and dry, so that should adhere firmly with the flask or cope surfaces, that is molding walls. It should firmly adhere. Now if suppose it is not firmly adhere to this, so what happens? While removing the pattern, okay, we are detaching the cope, right? And when we remove this pattern, so at that time your sand may fall. Okay, so to avoid that, so your molding sand should have this property, that is adherence. Okay? So it should stick here, it should stick to the molding walls. Adhesiveness means what? Ability to attach to the another surfaces. Okay, so here is our molding sand and this is our wall. So it should attach, adhere to these walls, so that while removing the pattern, your molding sand does not fall. Okay, so this is called adhesiveness. So otherwise what will happen? So your mold may break. So that is the property of adhesiveness. Now the next property is cohesiveness.
Sir?
Yes, yes.
So, but if it adheres to the wall, it also has a chance to adhere to the pattern, no? Well, the molten metal.
Yes, no, to what?
To the molten metal.
No, it will not adhere. So as how it will adhere to the molten, because its temperature if first is different, then it will go for contracting, and then as due to the its property of collapsibility, and as your molten metal is contracting, so it will not adhere to this. And if suppose it is adhere, so what we do? We go for breaking of that sand and we remove that. Okay. So it will only adhere, it should adhere to this molding wall. Okay, it will not adhere to your whatever the molten metal is there. At the first, it will be in contact with the your mold cavity, and due to the contracting, so it will detach from this your mold. Plus, as your this molding sand is having collapsibility property, it will collapse, it will break, and you can easily remove that pattern. It will not adhere to the your whatever this molten metal or final coating. So that we are going to see in the refractiveness. That part will come in this property, refracting. What is refractiveness? That we'll see. Okay. So this is adhesiveness, that is it should adhere to this, because as the temperature of your molding wall and molding sand is similar. That's why it will adhere to this your molding sand. But if you compare to the temperature of your molten metal or what are the solidify and your this mold cavity temperature, it is different. There is so much difference. That's why it will not adhere to your molten metal. That is also a main thing. Your wall temperature, that is molding wall temperature. So here this is a molding wall and this is your molding sand. So it's a temperature, it is at room temperature. That's why it will adhere to it. But to molten temperature is very high, so it will not adhere to the molten metal. Now, what happens?
Sir, then
Yes.
cope.
Yes.
Sir, then cope and rack also get adhere, no?
So for
Their wall,
that purpose,
cope and rack.
for that purpose, we are using the
Facing
parting sign. If you remember that parting sign. So here,
Got it.
yes, at that point we are pouring the parting sign so that the scope and rack will not adhere, right? Next is cohesiveness, means ability to stick together. So that is the this cohesiveness property. So what is cohesiveness property? When we are removing the pattern, now let's suppose this is the drag, and from here we have removed the pattern. Then here we have the hoop. From here also we have removed the pattern. Now once we remove the pattern, so the molding sand which is at this position, okay, whatever the sand particles are there, so that should stick to each other. That is what cohesiveness, that should stick to these particles so that it will not get formed. If suppose it does not have any strength or cohesiveness, then what happens after removing the pattern? So whatever the cavity is there, so that will fall, or whatever the particles are there near the cavity, so that there is chances of that they may fall. So to avoid that, it should have a good cohesiveness or good strength, so that whatever the cavity is prepared, that will remain same after removing the pattern. Okay, so that is the cohesiveness property. Okay. Now, so this cohesiveness property is also called strength of that mold. So we have two types of strength. So two types of strength, that is green strength and dry strength. So what is green strength? Now here we are using the green sand. Green sand means what? It contains the moisture, right? So when we prepare the mold and when we remove the pattern, when we prepare the mold and when we remove the pattern, so this is now green sand, or this is now a green sand, and the parts are not falling. So what are the sand particles around this are not falling. It have a good strength. So that strength is called green strength. When your molding sand has some moisture, means it is a fresh sand, and you have prepared the mold and your mold is having good strength, that strength is known as a green strength. Okay. Now after making this mold, what we do? We go for baking. So after baking, so what happens? It become a dry sand. After baking, right? It become a dry sand. Then what we do? We pour the molten metal. Now once we pour the molten metal, so whatever the cavity we have prepared, that should remain same once we pour the molten metal. In that condition also, when we are pouring the molten metal, in that condition also, whatever the sand particles are there, that should stick to each other, that should not break when we are pouring the molten metal. Then that strength is called dry strength. Understood the difference between green strength and dry strength? When we are using fresh sand, when your cavity remains same after removing the pattern, then that strength is called green strength. Then we go for baking, means to remove the moisture content, we go for baking. After baking, we pour the molten metal. When we are pouring the molten metal, your cavity should not break. Your cavity should not break. Whatever the sand particles are there, that should not get loose, so that we can get a proper size of particles. So that is called dry sand. Any difficulty in green strength and dry strength? If you have any difficulty, you can ask. Otherwise, we go for the last property. Okay,
Sir, what
yes,
is the
yes,
difference between adhesiveness and cohesiveness?
yes.
And also, earlier we talked about collapsibility, that the sand should collapse after the pattern or the mold is formed. Then why are we saying here that to retain the shape of the mold?
Retain the shape of mold means what? Here, first of all, adhesiveness. Adhesiveness means what? It should stick to the another particle or surfaces. Means what? Here, the molding sand we are preparing. I will show the video. Now see here, what we are doing here. So this is the drag, and here it is the cope. We have here pattern. Now we want to remove the pattern. For removing the pattern, we have detached this cope from the drag. Now while handling this, whatever the sand is here inside this cope and drag, that should not fall. So when it will not fall, when it have a good adhesiveness. Adhesiveness means what? It will stick to the walls of this coop. Okay. When we ram it, it will stick this, whatever the molding sand is there, it will stick to this molding wall. What is molding wall? This cope and drag wall. Okay. So that we can handle easily, and while handling it will not break. Whatever the mold we have prepared, that will not break. So that is called adhesiveness. Means what? It will adhere to this wall of our coop, because we are handling this. Okay, as we are removing the pattern, while pattern we need to handle this, means we will need to move this coop, and in case drag also. So while handling it, our mold should not break. So that is called adhesiveness. So whatever the molding sand is there, so that is adhere with your wall. That is called adhesiveness. And what is cohesiveness? What is cohesiveness? Cohesiveness means what? I will explain here. So these are the conditions before pouring the molten metal. Okay, remember that. Just wait. See here. So I have prepared the mold, let's say drag, and here there is a mold. Now there is no pattern. We have removed the pattern, right? Then we have kept the cope. This is the cope, and the cope cavity is like this. Okay. Now there is a cavity here. There is no pattern in this. Now, whatever the sand is here, after removing the pattern, it should not fall. Whatever the shape we have prepared, that should remain same, right? So it should not fall. So when it will not fall, when it have a good cohesiveness. What is cohesiveness? Sticking to each other. What is adhesiveness? Sticking to the another particle. That is the property. So here, whatever the sand is here, so that will stick to each other. Whatever the sand particles are there, and whatever the sand particles are here, that will also stick, so that it will not fall and it will not change the dimension of pattern, right? So that is called cohesiveness of molding sand. Then what we have seen, so cohesiveness means strength. There are two strengths, green strength and dry strength. So what is green strength? Green strength means what? Now we have prepared this cavity. So this is a fresh sand. Okay. If your particle remains at this location, it is stick to each other, it is not falling, then it is called having good strength. Okay, it is a good strength. What is dry strength? We are baking this, okay, to remove the moisture content. After baking, what we do after baking, we pour the molten metal. Now this molten metal have the high temperature, okay, plus it have some velocity, means we are pouring it. So while pouring it, whatever the shape is there, okay, while pouring, remember the word, while pouring, whatever the shape of mold cavity is there, that should remain same. It should not change the shape. Now, otherwise, what will happen? What will happen if suppose we are pouring here? Okay, so if velocity is more, so it may produce shape like this also. If suppose it does not have a good dry strength, whatever the mold cavity we have prepared, if suppose it does not have good strength, then it may prepare the shape like this. If suppose its strength is not good. Okay, so that is called dry strength. It should withstand this, whatever the molten metal we are pouring, right? So that is called dry strength. And similar to this is our last property, that is refractoriness. So what is refractoriness? So whatever the sand particles are there here, so in some cases what happens, if suppose this temperature, molten metal temperature is very high, so whatever the sand is there, it should withstand that high temperature. Withstand high temperature means what? It should not includes into this molten metal. What is meant that it should not get melt with that molten metal. Okay, whatever the molding sand is there, whatever molding sand is there, and we have the molten metal. So once we pour the molten metal, your molding sand should withstand that high temperature. Should withstand that high temperature means what? It should not get inclusive with that molding sand. Means it should not get melt with that molding sand. Then it is called a refractoriness. Okay. So you can see here, ability to withstand high temperature of molten metal without fusion. It should not get fused with the molding sand. Okay, that is, these are the properties. If suppose it get fused, then what happens? Let's suppose this is the cavity, and suppose here is the sand which got fused with this molding sand. Then whatever the part we will get that part defective part, because here we get the extra projection, plus whatever the molding sand that got fused, it may get trapped into this molten metal, into this part. So that is the defect. If suppose your sand get fused with the molten metal. So what we require, it should not get fused, that it should not, so it should withstand that high temperature. So these are the properties which required in molding sand. Okay, dry strength, green strength, refractoriness, adhesiveness, cohesiveness, collapsibility, pliability, and porosity. Here we are going to see the testing of molding sand. There are 4 now. We require these properties. We have seen adhesiveness, cohesiveness, porosity, right? Then we require the refractiveness. How to check the properties? How to check these properties? Whether this molding sand have these properties or not. To see these properties, we have the different tests. For our syllabus, we have the 4 type of tests. That is moisture content test, clay content test, grain size test, and permeability test. Okay. So today we will see the permeability test. So this is the machine which tests the permeability of your product. Of your molding sand. So what is permeability? We have seen that property. So it is the ability of molding sand to escape the gases, water vapor from it. Okay, that is the permeability property we have seen. So how this permeability test is carried out? That is, to carry out this permeability test, we need to prepare the sample. So we have seen we require the permeability of molding sand to allow for escaping of gases, water vapor, and air, whatever entrapped in the molding sand. So that should escape from the mold. So it should have a good permeability. To check the permeability, we need to take the test of permeability. For that, we need to prepare a specimen. We need to prepare a sample. So we prepare a sample, a cylindrical sample of molding sand. So this is a sample of what? Molding sand. Whatever the molding sand we are going to use. Okay. So we prepare the sample. So this sample size is fixed. Its diameter is 50.8 mm. This is the standard. Its height is also same, 50.8 mm. This is the standard size of this specimen, right? Now, so there is a formula of permeability number. So that formula is V into H. I will explain that. V into H divided by P into A into T. Okay. So what is this? That we will see. So V is the volume of air. Volume of air. So what we do in this, first we prepare this sample of cylindrical sample. Here you can see the cylindrical sample, right? Cylindrical sample. So we keep this cylindrical sample in this machine. Here you can see the machine. And what we do, we allow the air to pass through this sample. We allow the air to pass through this sample. Okay. Now, whatever the air is there, we are passing from this, that will come from here. Okay. So if suppose we are passing the air 200 cc, right? and air is coming from this. So we will measure that air with respect to time. Means in that particular time, how much amount of air is passed through this molding sand. So that is called permeability number. Okay, with the help of this, we will get, with the help of this formula, we will get that permeability number. Simple thing is that in this from the specimen we allow air to pass through it, and at another location we will see how much air is passed in particular time. So depending on that, we will decide the permeability number. And to calculate that permeability number, we have the formula. That is V into H upon P into A into T. So what is V? Volume of air, okay, which is passed through this specimen. So this is the specimen, and we are allowing air to pass through this. That is volume of air. So this is also constant. So this value is 2000 cc. So this much amount of air we are passing through this specimen. Then H. H is the height of specimen. Height of specimen. What is the height of specimen? That is 50.8 mm. 50.8 mm. So here you can see the standard size of specimen. Height means this length. What is the length? 50.8. Then here it is the P. Then A. So what is the P? Air pressure. By what pressure we are allowing this air to pass through this specimen? Okay. So this air pressure is also constant. That is 10 gram per centimeter square. So this is the quantity of air which we are allowing. At this pressure, we are allowing this much amount of air from this pattern specimen. Then A is the cross-sectional area of specimen. So here cross-sectional area of specimen. How to calculate this cross-sectional area of specimen? So what is the diameter of your specimen? What is the diameter of specimen? Here you can see 50.08. So how will calculate this area? So this is a circle. So pi by 4, pi r square or pi by 4 d square. So which is equal to 5 by 4, 50.8 square. So this will come, if we calculate, it will come around, if I calculate in centimeter, so 20.268 centimeter square. So you need not to calculate this dimension because these are the standard which already given. So I will convert this formula in very simple way. So cross-sectional area of specimen, it comes 20.268 centimeter square. These are all constant. V, H, P, and A. These are the constant. These are the standard. You can say these are the standard which they have given. And depending on this standard, we need to calculate the permeability number. Now see here. Now if I keep this all standard, so what formula I get? Permeability number is equal to, if I keep this V value, H value, P value, and A value, so I will get this as a 3007.2 upon T. So this is what I get. So what is this? I will keep this all standards, specimen size, air pressure, and volume of air. Okay, and I will select a time. Suppose I select a 60 second. Okay, so in that 60 seconds, whatever the air I will get in this meter, here there is a meter. if you see here in this meter. So we will measure that air, and depending on that, we will calculate the permeability number. So how to calculate the permeability number? What is the standard of permeability number? So that we will see in the next lecture. So first, just understand what is the formula. See, this is our specimen 50.8 by 50.8 in diameter and in length, right? So this is our formula of permeability number, that is V into H by P into A into T. V is the volume of air which we are passing through this specimen. H is the height of specimen, that is 50.8, which is constant. 2000 is also constant. Air pressure, by what pressure we are passing this, that is 10 gram per centimeter square, and the cross section of this specimen is 20.26. These are all constant, right? And so by keeping all these standards, we get this formula. So whatever, now see, whatever the molding sand we have prepared, we will prepare the mold of that side. We will keep in that machine. Okay, we will allow air to pass through it, right? And in particular that time, we will measure that pressure. We will measure that air, and we will get the permeability number. So how to measure that? That we will see in the next lecture. So how we will get the permeability number by 1 or 2 examples, right? So today we will stop. In the next lecture, we will see the 1 or 2 problems related to permeability test. So these problems are not there in the exam or in the syllabus. Just to understand better, we will see the problems, how permeability number, we get the permeability number. Then, yes.
When we stop to use backing sand?
So, so when it is get fully dry, and its color also changes due to the heating, its color also changes. So after a particular time, after say 2 or 3 usage of that backing sand, we will stop to use that backing sand. Automatically, we will by experience we will get to know whether this sand is capable to use again or not. Because see, if you take any clay and when we heat, its color changes. So when we go for repetitive use of that, its colors again changes, and once it reached any saturation limit, then we will stop to use. Generally, by experience, we will stop to use the sand, and then by its color, due to repetitive use, due to repetitive heating, its color also get changes, and we will stop to use. Generally 2 to 3 times you can see we will use that molding sand. So it depends. There are much more factors. So whether it is small production, large production. So there are a number of factors. Depending on that, we reuse that sand. So once we visit in an industry, there you will get to know how the repetitive use sand looks like. Okay. So that will, suppose here this color is suppose you can say it colors will change into greenish colors, and then we will stop to use that sand depending on the color. So in tomorrow's lecture, we'll see the moisture content test, then clay content test, and last one is a grain size test. Okay, so this test we will see in tomorrow's lecture. So the notes of last lecture and this lecture I will give today. And yes,
In permeability test, why
yes.
the diameter and height of the specimen is constant, like 50.8?
So see, we need to permeability number is constant. So we suppose there are 0.2 is the permeability number. When we see that our sand is okay, when we will say that our sand is okay, if suppose it have a permeability number of 0.2, how we will get the 0.2 number? Other parameters we need to keep constant. If suppose our standard specimen size changes. Then we need to change the standard permeability number. Okay. Now suppose our permeability number, standard permeability number is 0.2, 0.2 to 0.4. If suppose your permeability number is between 0.2 to 0.4, then use that stand. This is what we see. If permeability number is within this limit. So when we will say that if suppose all other parameters are constant, then we will say that this permeability number is if suppose there, then we will use that size. If suppose you change the specimen size, then your permeability number also get changed. Then you need to decide what is the permeability standard permeability number for particular size. Remember that. Have you understood this? Because our permeability number is constant, standard permeability number is constant. That's why we have to keep all of the parameters standard. Have you understood this?
Yes, sir.
One more thing.